Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Moore. We begin tonight with that breaking news out of Boulder, Colorado. Officials say the anti-Semitic attack injured several people. Tonight, a suspect is in custody. We have team coverage. Our Lisa Rozner has more on the victims and what witnesses are describing. But we want to begin with Andrew Haubner from CBS Colorado. He's live for us in Boulder tonight. Andrew, investigators just gave a late update about what happened. What can you tell us?
Yes, we had a lengthy press conference, Jessica, and we have gotten the identification of that suspect. It's 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Suleiman, who was out here around 1:30 p.m. in Boulder and attacked through the use of what can best be described as homemade Molotov cocktails, a group of individuals that walk here weekly as part of a program called Run for Their Lives, which is designed to bring awareness to the Israeli hostages that still remain in Hamas captivity from that October 7th attack.
Right, and we've seen those demonstrations happening all across the country over the last year. Talk to me about this area where the demonstrators were gathered. Is this a busy area in Boulder?
Yeah, it's actually pretty remarkable when you consider what the Pearl Street Mall is to the city of Boulder. I did my undergrad here at the University of Colorado. I've walked this stretch many a time over the course of my life, and you never would even fathom something happening to this severity here in a place like this. I mean, usually what would happen is that these marchers would do a silent protest walk. They'd occasionally see some hecklers that would say things to them. I was told by Rachel Amaru, the organizer of this group, that the most severe type of antagonistic behavior they ever had was somebody trying to tear at an Israeli flag, but nothing to what we saw today. What they would do is walk all the way through the Pearl Street Mall, which is a pedestrian mall walkway that goes through the center of downtown Boulder, and they would wrap up at the Boulder County Courthouse, which is just behind me over my right shoulder. They'd end up at that spot. They would tell stories. They would read names of the Israeli hostages, and then they would take a photo, wrap their day, and head home. But unfortunately, that changed significantly as the relative peace and safety of what is a very family-friendly area here in Boulder was disrupted in a pretty substantial way on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, to put it mildly, especially on a Sunday afternoon. I'm assuming families with kids were there. We know that police locked down a lot of that area right after the attack. What's the scene like now? Are we still on a lockdown situation, or have things reopened?
Still on a lockdown, if we want to call it that. There were several expansions, I guess you could say, of the perimeter. We were one of the first teams that was on scene and actually stood right across from where the attack occurred. We could see about an 8-foot burn scar across the pavement, individual shoes and personal belongings that were there as part of the investigation, and were told to move further back as that perimeter increased. I took several walks around the edge of the perimeter this afternoon. There were tactical units, hazmat, canine units. We saw a bomb squad robot as they were checking underneath some cars, a very significant presence, especially with the FBI here on location as well. And what we're hearing is that this perimeter will likely stay here throughout the night and go into tomorrow morning. So for those that work in this area that are already having to deal with the trauma, many of them from what they saw today, this is going to happen in the days and weeks, trying to figure out how to get back to normal and heal. And I want to draw attention to one thing that we did see earlier today. Somebody did come by where all of our cameras are positioned and laid a single Israeli flag in solidarity with those that have been injured and those that are going to continue to remain in this community to figure out how to heal and then move forward. Jessica?
Andrew Haubner, thank you. Great work out there. I know your work is just beginning. Thanks for the time tonight. The attack was carried out on a peaceful rally meant to draw attention to the 58 hostages still in captivity in Gaza. The FBI says the victims range in age from 67 to 88 years old. Lisa Rozner has more on the victims and what witnesses are saying about what they saw. Lisa?
Well, Jessica, as you and Andrew were saying, this is a gathering held every Sunday since October 7th in cities across the world, including right here in New York. Now, Jews who were there at this event in Colorado describe how they arrived in peace but left screaming for their lives. A terror attack at the Pearl Street Mall, a Molotov cocktail hurled at a crowd gathering for a weekly event called Run for Their Lives. They were calling for the release of the 58 hostages held by Hamas for more than 600 days.
Now more than ever, it's important for us to stand strong in our faith and in our convictions. The fact that this is happening to Jews in my local community makes me scared.
The suspect was heard to yell "Free Palestine" during the attack.
It was chaos and ruckus. People were yelling and screaming. They were trying to get from one place to the next, but they were tripping over stuff.
Police say 6 people were injured after 45-year-old Mohammed Sabri Solomon threw a Molotov cocktail. At least one is in critical condition.
It was 2 older ladies, just like kind of rolling around a little bit. They were in their underwear because they had like stripped their pants, obviously. And yeah, I was just like, how can I help? And they had like really bad burns all up on their legs.
One person caught on fire from head to toe, and they were burning up. Their whole body was burning up.
That witness says Solomon threw a second Molotov cocktail but caught himself on fire.
It looked like he may have had a bulletproof vest or a vest of some sort, and he took off the vest and he took off his shirt, and he was there arguing with some people and fighting while these other people were still on fire.
Despite the horrific experience, one witness says this act of anti-Semitism and terrorism won't deter her from speaking out publicly in support of Israel and the hostages.
It also makes me more motivated to come out here next week and do this again, because that's what they want. They want us to hide, and we're not going to hide.
And this comes more than a week after a Jewish couple was murdered in Washington, D.C. The FBI is investigating this Colorado case and at this time does not believe there are any accomplices. But again, the investigation is ongoing.
All right, thanks so much, Lisa. Here in our area, armed police were outside the JCC in Manhattan tonight. The Jewish holiday of Shavuot started at sundown. The NYPD says it has already increased patrols for the holiday and is keeping a close eye on the attack in Colorado. Look for continuing coverage on the attack in Boulder tomorrow on CBS News New York beginning at 4:30. For updates anytime, go to cbsnewyork.com.